Hi, writers. Today, and this is the last mini lesson of our year. Today, we're going to talk about reflective endings in our memoirs. Okay, so here's our teaching point. I know that it seems like our memoir was written super quickly because it was, but we are already nearing the end. Today, we're going to focus on the ways that writers end their memoirs to make sure that they have the big ideas that they are trying to show in mind. To do this, memoir endings are usually reflective or thoughtful in some way. Remember that an ending is the last thing that a reader reads and often remembers. So it's important that the ending is powerful. There's not one right way to end your memoir. So take a look at some different ways that you can and then try one for yourself. You can even try multiple ways and then decide which one you like the best. So, just to kind of go over again why endings are important and what reflective means. So, since memoirs are a way for a writer to explore an important big idea, topic, or theme related to their own lives, their ending typically involves a thoughtful reflection or understanding of this big idea. So, your reflective ending should definitely be bringing out the big idea that you're trying to show in your writing. And there's some different techniques that you can use as a writer to do this. So the first one is having the character, okay, so typically that would be you, but it could be another character in your memoir as well, doing a thoughtful action. So an action, not just an action for no purpose, but something that's thoughtful. Another strategy to bring out the big idea and the ending is to restate the realization about yourself that you've already told the audience in the very beginning. And then lastly, or maybe you actually haven't told the audience this yet, and this is your time to state the realization. Okay. And then the last strategy is a powerful dialogue between multiple characters. So this strategy, of course, will only work if in your memoir you're talking to somebody else. So if there's no other character in your memoir, then you really couldn't use that strategy. All right, so we'll look at examples of this. This is I think this is Tyler's memoir, where he talks about his grandmother, right? Him and his grandmother go on the roller coaster. So this is the very, very end of the memoir. And in this case, he uses powerful dialogue between multiple characters. You made it better by going on with me, and if you didn't go on, I would forget it after a while. That ride I will never forget, I said, my ear still hurting. That is that is the last ride of my life. I will never go on that again or any other ride, Grandma panted, until tomorrow, and then we'll go on a bigger ride, I replied with a smile. Okay, so she was really, really scared to go on the roller coaster, but in the end, she ended up going because he really wanted her to go. And then in the end, he's saying, you know what, until tomorrow, then we'll go on a bigger ride. Okay, so that could mean something literally, like they could literally be going on another roller coaster together, or it could mean figuratively, a challenge that they're going to overcome together. So in this case, there's dialogue between the characters. So this is showing the larger message that they're trying to convey with one another. They kind of overcame something together. This works if you have a memoir that's about somebody that's important. And this would be a good strategy if you're writing a narrative structured memoir. All right, here's another example. This is Henry's. So in this case, Henry was writing more of an essay styled, an essay structured memoir, if you remember that. So his ending is sounding more like an essay conclusion would. So he's going to restate the realization that he already made about himself in the very beginning, that living life to the fullest is always good. Okay, so he says from airplanes flying to new places, rustling roller coasters, fabulous food, and more, living life to the fullest always serves me good. Living life to the fullest has helped me take away my fears, push my motivation to try new things, and last but not least, appreciate what life offers. Overall, I hope I always try to live life to the fullest so I can keep having chances to have amazing moments. Okay, so he clearly and explicitly repeats the idea or realization that he made in the beginning, and even those reasons that he touched on in the body of his memoir. I like that he includes a look to the future at the very end. He's saying, I hope I always try to live life to the fullest. So it's not only something that he's already done, but it's something that he wants to continue to do in his life. And that really shows that this is a really important thing that he's writing about because it's not only for this one time in his life, but it's for more of his life. And lastly, this strategy will work well if you're writing an essay structured memoir. But you could try to explicitly state the theme or the realization, even if you're writing more of a narrative. Okay, and lastly, this is at the end of Adam's memoir. So this, and I think we actually touched on this yesterday, but Adam uses thoughtful action at the end of his memoir to bring out the big idea. So this is the story about his brother who leaves to go to college. So at the very end, after he says goodbye to his brother, it says, I stood there for a minute and then I slowly made my way back up the driveway. I remembered I was holding John's hat that I put on backwards, just as he always did. I walked into his room and sat on his bed. I squeezed his pillow and looked for any sign that John was once there. I picked up John's bassoon and put each piece together the way John taught me. I went over to the chair John always sat on when he played, and I played the deep, mournful sound I had heard coming from his room so many times. So again, I mentioned yesterday that there's an action in here when he plays the bassoon. Um, and he goes into his room and he actually plays the bassoon, and that's representing the sadness that he's feeling, the loss of his brother by going to college. So the action symbolizes something bigger than itself and brings out the deeper meaning. This is a really good strategy, again, if you're writing a narrative structured memoir. Okay, so today's task. Today's task is to try to finish your memoir process piece on the document shared with you in Google Classroom. You should be spending at least 20 to 30 minutes writing. So basically, the rest of the time that you have left should be spent writing. If you're unable to finish your memoir today in the remaining literacy time that you have, you might have to spend some time outside of class finishing up your memoir. We are going to specifically be spending Tuesday and Wednesday of next week editing our final memoir. So you're going to have like a task each day, Tuesday and Wednesday, that you'll be doing to be editing. So Tuesday, you're going to be looking at a rubric or the rubric, and then Wednesday, you're going to look more at an editing checklist. So you'll actually have a specific task each day to finalize and edit your memoir. But the actual drafting of it needs to really be done by Tuesday. Your ending will be graded separately. So what we're focusing on today, the reflective endings, is going to get its own separate grade in Genesis, just like your lead did. Okay, so please make sure that you're taking time to work on it. Your entire memoir, okay, minus the lead and ending, since they were graded separately, will also be graded. Okay, so that will be a separate grade too, but I'm not going to grade them until we're done with them on Wednesday. Okay, if you have any questions, please let me know and off you go.